Welcome to my podcast. This is Mary Turderoff, and you are listening to Jump In with Mary. Today, I have a special guest, a beautiful woman named Tatiyana. She is CEO of Oats Tanning, and she's here to talk about her journey. Hi, Tatiyana. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for having me.
We met at your place of business. You run a really marvelous operation that, we're going to get into it, but tell me how you started. You didn't start recently. You were like 15 when you dived into this industry.
Yeah. So, I definitely did not ever think I was going to be a spray tan artist forever. But basically, I was 15 years old. I worked in a traditional tanning salon with the UV beds. And I just started from there.
And there wasn't spray. I remember decades ago when this beauty standard began, there wasn't spraying. I remember laying in the bed for 8 minutes time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Okay, that's what I remember.
So like traditional tanning beds where they're lamps and you go into the bed, you lay in there. And that was the thing. Like that was the thing of the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s. So my dream come true was to be a lawyer. I wanted to go to law school, and that was my dream come true. So when I was 18, after I graduated high school, I worked at an attorney's office. I was 18 years old. I worked for 6 attorneys.
Wow.
And my boss would make me cry every day. She was super condescending. So as an excuse, I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit and go back to school. And in the meantime, my mom's like, well, why don't you come back and work at the tanning salon? I was like, okay.
Like a part-time gig?
Yeah, like a part-time gig. It's a really nice job for high school students, for college students. I mean, it's like a gym, you check people in. But I learned my customer service skills there. So at a very young age, it was embedded in me to learn about clients and talk to them. And so that's where I built my people skills. And then fast forward, we went to the Tanning Expo. My dad took me.
Okay, wait, pause. Tanning Expo. Give us a glimpse of what is that? Are they just like hundreds of vendors and
Yeah, so it's just like a convention, like Cosmoprof has the beauty conventions, the estheticians have these beauty conventions. And so this one's very specific to tanning. And there's a bunch of people who distribute products, lamps, the beds, the machines, red light therapy is big. So this is where I went.
So you're 18 years old and you go with mom and dad to the Tan Expo.
To the Tan Expo.
Okay.
Yep. Right then and there, I met Mr. Rick Norvell, who is the inventor of the Norvell product line. He picked me out of the crowd and he said, you, come here. And I was like, okay. And he's like, why you have to try my sunless tanning solution. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, I don't really like spray tans. At the time, we had the machines where you walk in, you push the button, and then it just blasts at you.
Right. Standing up, right?
Yeah. And I just remember it was like the death of me to clean that machine.
Oh, yeah. And it's cold. First of all, it's cold. It's
cold.
like cold wind and you're naked and then you have to clean it. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is the results were horrible. People would forget to turn and it was suffocating.
Right. You're standing in the fog in that close. Yes, I remember. I did it. I've done it all.
So that whole thing was just totally traumatizing for me. I really did not like it.
So you meet this mogul, basically.
So I meet this mogul, and then he sprays me with the solution. And I was in Vegas. The convention was in Vegas. And I just remembered looking at my skin and I was like, wow, this is so pretty and natural. Like, this is a spray tan? What? So I was very impressed. And my dad invested $1,500, bought me my very first spray tan machine.
A full standing up equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a compressor. You have to get the gun and solution and the hose and the plugs and all the things.
And you get it shipped to LA.
I get it shipped to LA. And our tanning salon was in La Cañada. And this is back in, I think my parents got it in 2010 2002.
Okay.
And by this time, it's like 2009. And I remember my very first client had a double vasectomy. So if you don't know what that is, she's a cancer survivor, a breast cancer survivor, and she had both of her boobs chopped off.
Wow. So she came with, scarring. And did you anticipate that, or it was just a scheduled appointment?
No, it was just a scheduled appointment. I remember I told her she was adorable. She was an adorable, like, old elderly lady. She
Mhm.
had so much charm and charisma to her, and she was just so vibrant. And I'm like, this woman who went through cancer, chopped off both of her boobs, is just like, yeah, spray me.
Yes. So, like, pause on that because the tanning industry, like a lot of beauty, segments, they have this stereotype of being very superficial, and people from the outside looking in would say, is there what's the essence or core to this? So, like,
Yeah.
what did that moment kind of give you? The spray tanning, is it more than just how we look or how we want the world to perceive us? Why would she come in and spray tan?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Spray tanning is definitely more than what it is. I think that a lot of people are intimidated maybe from it or don't understand it. And that's probably the biggest thing, is that people just don't understand it. But for me in that moment, I always say my first paying client popped my spray tan cherry.
Yes. Yes. I mean, seriously, double mastectomy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so basically, yeah, I I paused and I was like, "Oh, wow. Like, this is what this job consists of. It consists of vulnerability. It consists of their they want to feel better about themselves, and that's my job. So my job is more than a spray tan. It's to make somebody feel comfortable, to make it look incredible, to reach some kind of desires that they're looking for. So yeah, she totally popped my spray tan cherry. I'm like, it just blew me away. And she was so comfortable with it. She was like, yeah, like very open. And I was like,
But not
okay.
everyone is comfortable like me. So I have to say, you're one of the few women that's been down there. And I am very shy and I'm very weird about all these things. And you were just so conversational. You've clearly mastered the art of psychology with this, because
Oh,
you
thank
think
you.
you were like, doo, 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 doo. And before I knew it, Tatiyana, you were down there. And then I found myself feeling comfortable in it is a vulnerable process.
Yeah.
It's one of the few beauty things that you do where you have to be completely naked.
Yeah.
And there is a
Yeah.
trust, there is an awkwardness to be overcome, and you're kind of, it's all on you because the client's the client.
Exactly. And it is, I think, a big part of being a spray tan artist is to make your clients feel comfortable. I guess since I've been doing it for so long, it just so happened that my very first client had no breasts, and I had never seen that in my life.
Yeah. Most people haven't.
Yeah,
Up close and personal is what I mean.
totally.
And she wanted you to spray her there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she wanted me to spray her whole body. And then in that moment, I just made a decision. I was like, this is so intimate. This is such an intimate service. And they're trusting me to do this. Like, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best at it. And that was just the beginning of my journey.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So and I know you paid, I think this is really interesting. You got yourself through college, and you used the money you earned as a really young adult through the spray tanning industry to pay for your college education.
Yeah.
I think that's profound. because a lot of people graduate college and they're like, then they get a job and they have to work backwards, but you did both simultaneously.
Yeah. So that was the nice thing too. I was in my early 20s. I was the only one of my friends who had a flexible schedule, meaning I didn't have to go and clock into work. I was able to make my own schedule, my own hours, in addition to enjoying my 20s
Right.
and, friends and parties and all that.
Yeah.
But then go to college, get my education. Because again, my dream come true was to go to law school. And so in that moment and in that process, I was like, okay, well, what degree can I get to get me into law school? And then so I decided to major in business.
It's very suitable for you.
Yeah, I felt like it was a very just the way it was. And so, yeah, I majored in business and I got my degree. And throughout my entire college career, I was spray tanning clients and I grew like crazy. I mean, it was just nonstop referrals. It was one client told another client, told another client. And next thing I know, I'm like tanning all of Los Angeles.
You're tanning deans of schools and unassuming women that people wouldn't think would come and spray tan. It's like a very unique self-care process.
Yeah, totally.
But okay, so how do you go from you've graduated college now, you've been in the industry, you've gone to the expo, you've invested in this expensive equipment, $1,500 20 years ago. That's a lot. That's expensive.
For sure.
You've invested and now you're opening up your new space, right? Or you're deciding to open up your own business.
Yeah. So basically what happened is when I graduated from college, I was looking at my classmates and I was like, oh, what do I do now?
Exactly. That's the universal question of a college.
I'm like, what am I going to do with my life now?
With this degree.
With this degree, exactly. Well, the cool part was I had in college done the entrepreneurship program.
What is that? Tell us.
So entrepreneurship, our senior project was to build our own company.
Okay.
And so during that process, I flew to Tennessee to the headquarters of Norvell.
Norvell is, just to remind us.
It's the solution company. They make tanning solution.
Okay.
Plus equipment.
They're
everything.
like the big dog, right, of the whole industry.
I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, they were the beginning of time. So
okay. So you fly to their headquarters.
So I fly to their headquarters. I interviewed the GM.
Wow.
I saw the whole process from beginning to end.
They let you just come on as a student?
Yeah, they let me come on as a student. I have a really close relationship with the company.
Okay.
They know me by name. So I just asked them, I said, listen, I'm doing a senior project. I would love to come over and interview and watch the process and the whole thing. And they invited me with open arms. And that's actually when I visited Nashville, Tennessee. I went all by myself. This was 2014.
So just to give me a frame of reference, what are you, 20? I can't do that. 23?
23.
Okay, you're 23 and you have the courage and balls to say, I'm going to reach out to this company and show up, interview the GM and get all their secrets, and I'm just kidding.
No, totally.
Get their solution recipe. That says a lot, though.
Thank you. I mean, it was so fascinating for me. I just wanted to see the whole process. Like, what is a spray tan solution? What does it take to make it? Because actually, the ingredient DHA, it's very, very sensitive. It's not like your typical cosmetics. So it's a very sensitive ingredient.
What does that mean, sensitive ingredient?
Yeah, so it's hard to play with, like when you're creating it in the lab. It's really hard to play with. If it gets exposed to air, boom, it starts oxidizing, which means it starts changing color. And that's the process that's happening when I spray it on your skin. So as soon as DHA hits the skin, it starts a browning effect. It's oxidizing.
I see.
So the ingredient itself is very sensitive. And I go to this manufacturer and they're tanks, like huge tanks of amazing solution, and they're so consistent. So I was just blown away. I was
Wow.
just blown away. I learned so much. I came back home. I finished my business plan.
Hmm.
So when I graduated college, I had this whole business plan.
Wow. But you really took it on. Some kids just do it to get it done. What's
Totally.
incredible is you put your whole heart and soul into it.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
had a really good mentor at that time, my college professor. I just adore her. She was an international woman.
Wow.
She really, she really helped me a lot. Like she walked me through the whole thing and she encouraged me a lot. She said, Tatiana, you have so much potential. I remember I would go to her office and I'd be stuck and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then she's like, none of that. None
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. No whining.
No whining. None of that. You're going to figure it out. And I was like, okay. So, yeah. So I had a really good mentor that helped me a lot. And in the process, I came back. I had a whole business plan. And then I took a little bit of a life turn.
Okay. Tell us.
Yeah. So basically, I just had this moment where I'm like, I'm so exhausted. I didn't know spray tanning was a career.
Mhm.
So again, back to like, I want to go to law school and all these things. So it was very conflicted. I was in a very transitional phase. I also had given up my location. So I didn't have like a home to spray tan people in.
So you were
Um,
spraying like on the go, like private appointments, right?
Yeah, and I would so I did mobiles. So that
Mobiles.
was the year that I did mobiles, and I would drive to clients' homes and do it that way. If you live in LA, you know how annoying traffic is.
Right. Doesn't make
So
sense.
it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I did whatever I did, and I kind of took a hiatus just to focus on myself after I graduated, collect my thoughts. I took a trip to Spain.
Ooh, I'm sure you collected a lot of thoughts there.
I sure did. That was one of my highlight trips of my life.
Wow. Was that just to reset, regroup
Yeah.
emotionally, spiritually, or
Yeah. All of
okay.
it.
That's important too.
No, absolutely. Traveling, getting a sense of what life is like outside of LA. I think a lot of times we're so confined to the city that we forget there's a whole world.
Absolutely.
So I think that trip really changed my perspective. I got to meet people who don't speak English, right? And then I had to like navigate and speak
Yeah.
their language, but also witness how beautiful they live.
Hmm.
And what do I mean by that? We went to a restaurant and they just closed the restaurant down and they started bringing out guitars and bands and
Wow.
didn't matter old, young, big, small, didn't matter. Everybody was drinking and dancing and
Yeah.
even the waiters, they just jumped on the bando and they were, playing their
Right.
instruments. So it was a very nice culture
Yeah.
experience for me. That also kind of shaped my worldly view. I think I'm such a well-rounded person in that sense, and traveling is a contributing factor to that. So, yeah.
And I think that makes you more relatable because when you've rubbed shoulders with different people, I can now see how you have clients from all walks of life.
Oh, yeah.
And again, you're in such an intimate setting because you're essentially with all of your clients in the nude.
Yes.
And I know it sounds so funny and outrageous, but when you really think about that, what kind of person it takes to be in a room with somebody in their most vulnerable physical state, which is nude, and to
Have naked conversations.
have naked conversation and not allow for their guard to come up. And I haven't even thought, like, you probably have male clients. I was just actually referring to female clients, but
Yeah,
I'm sure you have male
I
clients, right?
do. I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is like something that it's not easy to master. So that makes sense that you're worldly, that you can.
Thank you.
So now you could chit chat in Portuguese with a naked male client. I'm just kidding. That's so awesome. So you take this trip, you take a hiatus, and you come back. When do you take the leap of faith? Because starting a business in LA,
Yeah.
everybody knows standard of living in LA is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Competition here is unbelievable. It doesn't, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor opening up a private office, spray tan artist, it's there. We are so saturated in every single industry in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
right? Because it's this thriving hub. When do you decide, or how do you decide, I'm going to take this leap of faith? I'm not a trust fund baby. I don't have $3 million handed to me.
Yeah.
And for listeners, I want them to know that you didn't have a pot of money just sitting there for you.
Oh, that's true.
So
everything I have is self-made.
So tell me, like, because to start a business or get into a lease, like you need, how did you get catapulted into that? Tell me about this lease situation.
Okay. So this is really where my faith in God comes in. I believe so deeply that God opened doors for me. And with my naive mind, I just followed. So going back to being like, even just getting into spray tanning, how did that come out, and then me just listening and following and open like one door open led to the next, to the next, to the next, and it was literally just all guided by God. So back to when I got back from my trip, back from that hiatus
From Spain, okay.
From Spain, yeah. I think it was like a good 6-month break. And out of nowhere, my one client called me, and who I only see really twice a year. She's so cute. She comes to me every time she goes on this annual trip with her husband.
That's so sweet.
She's adorable. So I did a mobile for her, and I was like, hey, by the way, I'm looking to move out. Like, would you possibly know of someone renting a back house around here and whatever? And she goes, you know what, sweetie, you need to drive right up Hudson. They're building some new apartments there. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So right after that appointment, I drove up, and turns out they're salon suites.
Which she didn't know.
She thought they were apartments.
And the fact that you drove there the same day, right?
The same day. And here's the God part. I walk in, it's like not even, walls are not even up. And the owner of this business is there. He just so happened to be there at the same time that I walked up.
Wowzers.
So I walk in, and I introduce myself, and I'm like, oh, what's this place? And then right away, he's like, here's an application. Here's this, here's that. He's like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I do spray tans. He's like, oh, perfect. We'll take you. And I was like,
wow, what a short interview process. I mean, it helps that you're really cute and young.
I was like, okay. Oh my goodness. And
so you signed a lease.
So I sign a lease not knowing what I'm really getting myself into.
You're also in your 20s, and you're signing a lease in your 20s.
Yeah.
I just want to depict a picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, my parents have always like been a support and an advocate. But in this, I was also a little bit at that phase where I was like, no, mom and dad, I got this. I'm going to do everything on my own. So I read the lease, and it's like, I think at the time it was like $325 a week.
Okay.
I didn't calculate it. I was like, oh yeah, like a couple spray tans. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I signed the lease.
Right.
Turns out it's way more per month.
Yeah.
So I went from, I don't know, $500 a month rent to like $1,500 a month rent. And I remember 6 months in, I was struggling. And I was like, what did I sign up for? This is insane. And I was just barely making ends meet. And I thought to myself, I kicked myself so many times, and I was like, I signed up way bigger than I could chew.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, I guess, sucked it up because I signed a lease, and I didn't know you can't get out of it. So
did you try to get out of the lease?
I mean, I kind of tried. I was like, I didn't realize it was weekly rent versus monthly rent? Like, I'm so confused, because you're also paying at the end of the year, you're paying for 52 weeks, not 12 months.
Yeah.
So again, but the guy's like, listen, you signed a deal, like that's it. And I was
Right.
like,
That was life lesson business life lesson number one.
totally.
So relatable though, because you're in your 20s, you don't have a partner, you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. And
so you're stuck, you stick it out, you don't throw in the towel, you do not surrender.
I don't surrender. And I just decide, what can I do to make this work? And I, in my general practice, I'm very consistent. So I just stuck to the consistency. I was like, okay, I know I'm good at this. Let me just be consistent. And through that consistency and that persistence, in 1 year, I not just quadrupled, I times 6.
Wow. Incredible.
So 2016, 2017, 2018,
Wow.
I was like on every level of high you could think of. I opened 2 more sweet locations. So now I have 2 locations in Pasadena, 1 location in Sherman Oaks. And I had staff, and
that's big. That's a big deal.
It was huge.
Big deal.
And I honestly don't know how it happened.
Well, I was just going to ask you, how does that happen? But I mean, you didn't surrender, and you're in the customer service industry, and you clearly really understand the nuances of that industry.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because clients have to feel, it's self-care. You walk through the door and you want to feel pampered.
Yes.
And that's really what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah. You got to take care of your clients.
Yeah. They want to feel unplugged. And if it's whatever it is, in your case, that's spray tan, being in that space.
It was tanning therapy.
Tanning therapy. Yeah.
Tanning therapy. And if my walls can talk, girl.
We'd have a 6-hour podcast episode. I mean, feel free to share anything really outrageous, nameless, anonymous. But I'm sure you've had like funny situations and you have to kind of get through it.
You just got to get through it. So, I mean, the spray tan stories that I have, oh my goodness.
Have you had any disasters?
I mean, not like I've had a few awkwardness. Yeah. Again, I've like seen it all. I mean, nothing surprises me.
No extra body parts or lack of anything.
It all comes with the package.
Yeah. How do you spray tan men? I mean, this is a very selfish question I wasn't planning on asking. But now that we're here and the lights and camera are on, I need to know.
Yeah.
And I'm Armenian. I'm trying to imagine, are there Armenian men that come?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And do they get naked?
Yeah. So most men not
like no underwear.
No underwear. But yeah, I do have do you want to know my first man that was naked? Okay.
Of course I want to know about your first man.
My first naked man.
Yeah. Not for you personally, but your job.
My job. So I had a client who's an actor, and I didn't know who he was or anything like that. But he goes, I can't have tan lines.
Wait, he calls you, you go to his house?
I call him. Actually, he came to my location.
Okay.
Yeah. So he goes, I cannot have tan lines. And I go, okay. So
there's
take
one
it
solution.
all off.
Yeah.
And I remember his wife was there.
Okay.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it wasn't mobile. This was so long ago. I can't even remember.
Give us whatever you can scrape from your memory.
I just remember his wife was there. And so I thought, if it's okay with her, then it should be fine for me. Like,
well, he says, I want no tan lines.
Yeah.
You say, well, the only option you got to take everything off. He says, yes.
He said, yeah.
She's there. She hears this.
And she's there, and she's like totally okay with him being naked, getting a spray tan.
Right.
So I was like, okay, if she's okay with it, then I'm okay with it. Now, might I add, here's a pro benefit. The spray tanning is very cold.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So the cold process
oh God,
is totally helpful.
Oh my Lord. Okay. This is so good. So good. And I have another question. I don't know if I should ask it or not. It's like, for women spraying down there, it's very simple. We don't have things that move. You don't have to lift anything, tuck it aside. I was just thinking, wow, this is a whole, okay.
Yeah. So I've created a technique. I call it tanning yoga.
Oh boy.
Okay. And with my tanning yoga moves, we can get every nook and cranny
Jesus
without
Christ,
making you feel
Tatiyana.
uncomfortable. And by spray tanning you head to toe.
Oh my gosh. I can't, what can you do? Downward dog. And he has to do downward dog so you can start. No. Oh my, okay. I'm getting so many visuals. I gotta control myself for a second. Okay, I'm back. So, but then you do tan him and then and the wife doesn't get upset, right?
Yeah, she's fine with it and stuff. And then I did such a great job that he continued calling me week after week and to do his tans. And I just became his tanning girl.
Great.
And that was my very first naked man.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But there are so many logistics to it that you don't process in the beginning. But it sounds like you navigated it without making it awkward.
Totally.
And that's what matters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he was so thrilled with the results too. And he was so comfortable that it made me comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely professional.
You
I'm
are.
so professional. I mean, in every way, doesn't matter. I call the body a canvas.
I love that.
So my canvases come in all shapes and sizes, all undertones, and it is truly my profession to make sure that I navigate that canvas and how to paint it properly.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and you paint it per formula per person. Because you mix your own formula. It's not all pre-made, just stuff dumped on people.
No, exactly. All of my stuff is customizable. And for example, let's say Mary wants to do a spray tan for her podcast. We would do a nice natural glow. But let's say 2 weeks from now, Mary's going to Cancun. We're going to give her a Cancun tan.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So you're now booming. Your business is booming. Your Rolodex of clients is unbelievable ×6. And COVID happens eventually, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what had happened is I was looking for a space. My rent was ridiculous. I have a dear, dear client of mine. She's into commercial real estate rent. And she goes, Tatiyana, how much are you paying here? And I go, don't ask.
Well, you were paying in 3 suites, right?
Yeah.
So ×3.
I think I was close to $6,000 a month for rent.
This is back in the day.
And this is
back in the day.
Yeah. This is
That's
at least almost 10 years ago?
That's a lot. That's like $15,000 now. Okay.
Yeah.
So client asks you.
Yeah. And I go, don't ask because it's a lot.
Right.
And then she goes, okay, well, we need to find you a place. I was like, okay, well, find me a place.
Right.
So I did search for about a year up and down all over Pasadena to find a commercial lease. And then one day my mom, she was just leaving my salon and she drove half a block and she goes, Tatiyana, I found your perfect salon. I was like, what? She goes, when you're getting off work, just drive by. And I was like, okay. So I drive by and I see it. And imagine, again, I have no vision. I'm super clueless. But in my dreams, I had seen this open, very warehousey vibe with open windows and skylights.
In an actual dream.
An actual dream. I had a dream that my salon looked like that. So I drive by and there's this little for lease sign and that's exactly what it was. It was glass windows, all open space. And I was like, Mom, I love it. I'm like, you're so good, Mom. She's such a real estate girl. I love her.
That's so sweet. And incredible. As she spotted it, it mimicked your dream.
Totally.
And it worked out.
This is back to how God just leads my path. And I just I'm okay. It's just wow.
So you go for it.
So I go for it. So
you now signed another contract.
Well, I had called my client who was willing to help me and I said, hey, we found a space. Can you look into it? Turns out she's friends with the leasing agent.
Okay.
Again, another like divine, godly connection. And it's like meant to be, right?
Right,
Like
right, right.
super meant to be. Because I had called in for a couple months and nobody called me back. So she goes, I got you. We got it. Like, are you ready to sign? I'll do everything for you. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Okay. So that was summer of 2018. I signed my lease. I had saved enough money to do my build out, to do like the renovations and stuff. And
You started the renovations?
yeah, so we signed the contract, signed the lease. Then now I have this whole new thing to think about, which is building a salon from scratch.
Because it
like
wasn't formerly a salon. It was something else.
yeah, exactly. It was just like a retail space,
So you have to do
basically.
it like head to toe, right? You have to do everything.
Yeah, well, basically what happened when I walked into the space, the bathroom, I kid you not, was this big.
Mm.
I mean, not even a skinny person could fit in there.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
so little. So then I told my dad, I was like, Dad, what do we do? He's like, I don't care. Let's demo the whole thing. And I go, what?
Very Armenian dad thing to say, by the way. Let's demo it and start all over.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys did an amazing job.
I was like, okay, whatever that means, let's go.
So you start demoing.
So we demo the whole salon or the space. It wasn't a salon then. We demo the whole space and now we're down to studs. We got nothing. We just have concrete walls, concrete floor, and that's it. No bathroom, nothing.
So it's not a workable space yet.
It's not a workable space. You can't just like move in. No, we had to build the whole thing out. Now we're talking about hiring an engineer, getting your permits, making it ADA compliant.
Oh my God.
I have no clue about any of these things. So I go to the city of Pasadena, and if anybody knows the city of Pasadena, they are super strict and they take forever to do permits and all that stuff. I'm only working with a short time window. We got to get this place built out in 6 months. Otherwise, it's going to cost me more money. So everything goes smoothly. We get the contract. There's a couple of mishaps, whatever. No big deal. Get it through. In the meantime, I had just gotten puppies.
Puppies, plural?
Puppies, plural.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
My Joey, Zoe, and Juju. I have
Three?
three.
Stop. Are they like sibling puppies or
They're
something?
sibling puppies.
Joey, Juju, and Zuzu?
Yeah, Joey, Zoe, and Juju.
You're so cute.
They're my little children. I'm obsessed with them. So I have puppies. I have 2 locations. I have staff. I'm building a salon. I'm just head to toe booked every 30 minutes on the hour all day, like 9 a.m., 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Actually, at the time before COVID, I would work until like 11 o'clock p.m.
Wow. But wait, while you're demoing the new space, your other 3 suites are running, right? Because you said you have staff. So where are they spraying? In the 3 suites.
Yeah. So I had a location in Sherman Oaks. I had a girl there spraying for me.
So you're still leasing there. You're paying all those leases.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Everything is out of pocket. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do have to move fast. You're bleeding money. Okay.
Oh, yeah, totally. Okay. And I built my business. I built my entire company debt free. I did it all with my savings. I
Incredible.
worked and no loans, none of that.
Wow. That's like an anomaly, Tatiyana. That's unheard of.
I didn't know, to be honest. I just, in my head, I was like, well, if you have the money, you pay for it.
Right.
I didn't know there was a business loan.
Right. So no business. So basically what you're telling me is you took your life savings
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
debt-free, and you hit the ground running 3 locations while simultaneously doing the new build out.
Yes.
Okay. Plus the 3 puppies. I
Plus
don't know
the
why
puppies.
you timed it like that, but we'll call it some, I don't know, emotional need you have.
I'm telling you, it was like all just insane. It was all insane. And I feel like sometimes you just don't think, you just do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's definitely that period. I'm like, okay, bring it on. What else we got? Let's go.
Not bad. That's
Let's
not a
go.
bad. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it worked. And I didn't think, I was just doing. I didn't foresee anything. But as I'm doing, I'm learning, right?
Of
So
course.
for example, the permits and the ADA compliance.
Permit to
So
what?
the permits to build out the place in Pasadena, all the business license requirements, anything that Pasadena requires as a business to operate in the city of Pasadena, I had to learn all those things. ADA compliant with the wheelchairs, I had to learn those.
Right.
I didn't know. You
Right.
have to be ADA compliant.
No, for sure. And this is all very relatable
Yeah.
because none of us know until we, dive in and get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And it takes time. I bet it took 6 to 12 months to get
So you've been
permitting.
to my salon, right? You know
Yes.
how I have those sliding barn doors?
Yes.
So the first build out, they didn't make it big enough to fit a wheelchair through. So
Oh,
they had to
no. So did you do it
demo
over?
that
Oh
and
my
they had to
God.
rebuild
You're
that.
kidding me.
I'm not kidding. And we were off by like, I don't know, a couple inches.
Yikes. Yikes.
So it's just stuff like that that you don't really think about and you
Yeah.
just learn as you go. So then we built it. Everything went through. I gave the workers, my contractor, I gave him a deadline. I said, December 2018, I need the key and the like I'm ready to open the door and go in.
Right.
It wasn't ready by December.
Of course not.
It was not ready by
December of next year, maybe. So, okay. And what, another 6 months?
So then I pretty much told him, I was like, I need you to have it done by January. That's it. Like I already put in my 30 days. And so
you did with the other suite, suites.
Yeah, because at that point I only had so much reserve too, because I wasn't going to be able to afford having those rents plus this rent plus the remainder of the build out and all that.
That's right. You're not juicing your money from parents' accounts, business loans, private bank loans. Yeah, so you're juicing your own life savings.
It's all whatever I've worked for, and so that's it.
So you move in. Okay, they give you the key. You move in. Everything is ADA wheelchair approved.
Everything is ADA.
Okay.
The paint was still wet when I moved in. January 2009 was when I got the key. And I just said
2019. You
2019.
Okay.
What did I say?
2009.
I'm sorry.
So January 2019. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry
you move
about that. 2019, I move in. They give me the key, and I am in this empty space.
And it's a huge high ceiling, vaulted space. Yeah.
And it's so empty. It's like, I don't care. It smells like paint in here, but you know what? We're going to do spray tans.
Yeah. So you open the doors, clients start coming in.
So I open the doors. I tell all my clients about my new location. I get it all together. And February, around Valentine's Day, I throw my grand opening.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
And that's money that you have to spend a lot of money for grand openings.
Yep. So I did all that. And my clients were like incredible. They were so happy. We had a really strong 2019. It was incredible. And I like to throw annual parties. Like it's just my thing. So I threw a party February 2020. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary of opening up this new beautiful salon, the first sunless tanning salon. That's it. We only do spray tans in here. So open that up. And then a couple weeks later, boom, COVID shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're like 1 year in, so I'm sure you made money, but there can't be that much reserve where you're like on cruise control, right?
Oh, no. I was like relying on 2020.
You're relying. Yeah, no, this is really like what a sobering reality.
Yeah. And in my head, we're like, I had all these dreams and plans, and it's just going to be the best year ever, 2020. Like, yes. Kind of like, remember when we entered 2000? It's like the millennial year. That's kind of how I felt. It was like 2020, yes. A new decade, Yeah. And it just nosedived the opposite direction.
Slaps you in the face. Okay, so I think it was March. It was announced, everything shut down.
Right.
And unfortunately, this was tagged as a non-essential business.
Yep.
Couple of questions. Yeah. One big one, but then we'll start with the emotional part just for anyone. I know I would wonder, how do you emotionally get through that depression? That is depressing to
Very.
have built this empire for yourself, to have used every penny you have and found the client base a year in this new space. And that's it. And the COVID went on for years. So how did you emotionally pull yourself out of that dark place? And your company's still up and thriving, obviously. Fast forward, but
Yeah.
what did you do? I mean, how do you really get through that? I know it had to be really dark
Yep.
on the inside.
Very. So, oh man, I learned so much about myself in 2020. I didn't even know like myself, to be honest, until 2020 happened.
Wow, I like that.
I'm not.
How so? I love that.
It was a very, very crazy time of life. So, I realized in 2020 that my business is my outlet. My job is my outlet. So in any given situation, like, I don't know, I got to get into a fight with my boyfriend. I got to go. I'm going to go spray tan.
Yeah.
Get into a fight with my parents. Oh, I got to go. I got to spray tan.
Mm.
Or let's say I want to get out of something. Sorry, babe, I can't do it. I have a client. Sorry, babe. So that was my life.
Yeah, sounds like your happy place.
That's my happy place.
Yeah.
So take away my happy place as a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
I crashed. I crashed really, really hard. And I was left to deal with me and my emotions. And I never thought I would ever be in that type of situation. So thank God for my therapist.
Oh, amen. For all of us who are lucky enough
Yeah.
to have one.
Thank God for my therapist.
So you stuck with therapy,
I had
self-care.
I had like no money, right? I
Right.
was not making money. I wasn't working. I had no clients. But somehow I paid for therapy.
Wow.
And she's expensive too.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
really great ones and experienced ones are pricey. And
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
But thank God for her because she really, really, really helped me. So I did fall into a depression for a good, I think, 6 months. It was pretty bad. Like I couldn't leave my room, and it was like deep.
Right. But you all were also in a business where there was no way around it. Like some businesses finagled a little bit. Like I know the hair products industry and people were being snuck behind for blow
Yeah.
dries, and that was manageable. But the spraying world, I don't know how that would have worked. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, I remember I just left it up to clients. I was like, if a client wants me to spray her, I'll take her. It's fine. We put like a banner in front of my window, and then if people wanted to come in, whatever. Also, too, I don't touch people with the spray tan.
Right. You
know,
don't touch body parts.
So we weren't touching, so anything. So I just left it up to clients, but it was a massive decline. I mean, we're talking about I would see anywhere from 30 to 40 clients a day to like 0.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
To maybe like 2 a month, 3 a month, if that. Yeah.
That's like quicksand.
Uh-huh.
Quicksand.
And a lot of transformational things happened in that moment. So I realized I was like, okay, well, if the world shuts down, I can't do my job. If this shuts down, I can't do my job.
Wow.
I'm like, if I'm depressed, I can't do my job.
Right.
So there was a lot of changes that happened, but I'm so grateful for that time because it really made me sit down with my own emotions and process everything and really like purge any deep healing that I needed to get done.
I love that.
So it took me like 6 months to just be in solidarity, in the depression, going through therapy. We were also drinking alcohol every day.
Well, alcohol, do you remember? There was all these reports that alcohol sales were so up. I don't know if you remember. There was an article that came out. That was the one.
I remember we were just home drinking all day.
I guess vodka was an essential, not a non-essential.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember there was a big spike up in alcohol sales.
Yeah. And then that contributes to depression because
course.
alcohol's
And
a
you can't-
depressant.
Yeah, you're not moving. And
Exactly. So I had gained some weight and I was like, I'm not doing this. I was like, I'm going to turn this whole thing around. It's the first time in my life that I would have a meal at 5:00 p.m. My whole food and sleep schedule for my whole spray tan career has been non-existent. I'm not normal. I don't eat dinner at 5 or 6 o'clock. I always eat later or whenever on the go. So I was having meals at 5:00 p.m. and I was like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to be normal.
That's
This is like a
funny. I
normal,
know. Right?
you
I love that
know?
schedule. I love that schedule. I love the 5 o'clock schedule. I'm sure you don't do that anymore now that we're back into the
Now
swing.
that we're back into
But
it.
you're also running around as an entrepreneur. You're dealing with people's schedules, people coming after work.
Yeah,
You're in the service industry. Some people have
exactly.
to come in after work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So I decided I'm going to turn this into a health journey. And then we're still stuck at home. So I started working out. I was laying out in the sun. I was spray tanning myself. I was making videos and just whatever I could to like figure it out. And that's kind of how I got myself out of it.
That's amazing.
I lost a lot of weight.
Wow.
So everybody during COVID was losing.
Everybody gained weight. I feel like.
Everybody gained weight. I lost. I quit alcohol. I think I quit drinking entirely for like almost a year
Good for
after that.
you. Did that feel like I drink socially, but did it feel cleansing?
It did. It
Yeah.
felt really good. You know what it is? It was the body inflammation. It was like that puffiness
Yeah.
and just the sluggish
Right.
and the sugars.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like once you stop drinking as much, you're just like, you feel a little, you don't even want it. Or
I
it's
think
not as
so.
appealing.
Yeah. Or if you have one, it's enough.
Enough. Yeah.
Instead of like 4.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
That's so great that you took a really positive trajectory towards all of this.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy too because it taught me a lot. And it taught me about body and self, and so a lot of things. But got on that health journey. I lost inches in my belt. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I should quit drinking more often.
That's
Like,
and you
stick to
felt
this.
good. You felt good.
I felt really good. And I just started getting back into it. And at this point, like slowly, I think the world started opening up again.
So how many years did you pay this lease and not like use the facility?
Yeah,
2?
It was a good 2.5
Wow.
years. Yeah.
That's a long time for a business to stay afloat.
Yeah. And they
Wow.
didn't like forgive my rent. They just like abated it. So you have to
Paid
still
later.
pay it later.
Yikes.
Yeah. So
There was no discounted fee, nothing. Like no slack, basically. And you're still standing.
and
All your walls are still up and standing. It's incredible.
thank you.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
Tatiyana,
you.
thank you for sharing that part of the journey because that's like the not so happy part.
Yeah.
But most businesses that go up, most small businesses or businesses run by, one person, you didn't have a partner to lean on or share any weight with, right?
That's true.
At any point. Like
Yeah.
a business partner. It's all you. So if you're sinking, you're sinking.
And I was going through a very awful breakup too at the tail end of 2019.
Before COVID hit.
Right before COVID hit.
Okay. Wow. When it
Yeah.
rains, it pours.
Tell me about it.
So you were single
I was
again,
single,
right?
Single and left to deal with my emotions. Like,
Wow.
mhm.
That's where the 3 puppies come in, right? I still can't believe you got 3 puppies in the middle of all of this.
Tell me about
Are
it.
they still with you?
Oh yeah, they're my life. I
Do you
love
take them everywhere?
I do. I think people know my dogs. Actually, they're a little famous in Pasadena. People like pause and take pictures of them and post
Stop.
it on Facebook.
Are they fancy? I bet they're fancy.
They're Maltipoo's. They're little
Oh
they're
my
little cute little
gosh.
poodles.
I hope you don't spray tan them.
You know, it's funny, but I have tan dogs. It's so funny. I literally have tan dogs. The irony of
The
that.
irony. All 3 of them?
All 3 of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
They're so cute. I love them. I love them so much.
That's really fun. I could totally visualize you with your cute little dainty dogs. I want to ask like a little bit about, again, this journey, more of a big picture. What has been the hardest thing to overcome as a business owner? And what has been the most pleasant part of that journey, like opening up your own place and running it on your own? So the hardest thing or biggest obstacle to overcome? And the best part where like your cup is really full to the brim because of it?
I love these questions. I think the hardest part about being a business owner is you yourself have to bring it. So,
Every
whatever,
day.
every day, whether you've got period cramps, whether you're going through a breakup, somebody just dumped you, whether you're having girlfriend issues, it doesn't matter what, your aunt is in the
Someone died.
hospital,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. What you put in is the output that you're going to get out. So, for example, my boss and my direct rapport are my clients, right? So, those are my superiors. If I don't show up to an appointment, if I come in all haggled and all over the place, if my energy is just scattered all over the place, the client's going to feel it and she's going to feel like crap.
Right. It's so true.
Right? Like you're here to make she's here to pay you to make herself feel better.
Yep. Yeah, that is
You better
what's
show
happening.
up.
Right. 100%.
You better show
Even
up.
if your life is falling apart.
Absolutely.
That is very difficult.
So I think that's the hardest part about being a business owner. What you put in is what the output will be out. And then what's the most gratifying and satisfying part of my job are the results.
What do you mean?
So the results of when you get a client that's like doubtful or shy or scared or doesn't want to turn orange or all these factors, right? Or doesn't want to get naked, all these factors. And you make it such a pleasant experience for them that they turn around and they're just feeling themselves. It's like this. In 20 minutes,
Like
the person who walked in is not the same person who walked out. She's got a little pep in her step.
Yeah.
She's feeling it. She's like, oh my gosh, she can look herself in the mirror and not feel, pale.
Right. Or get in a bathing suit in public, which is something that's very hard for a lot of women, I think.
For sure. Yeah. So the results and the satisfaction that comes from those results is my biggest reward. I think that when I get a client that goes, Tatiyana, you made me feel so good. I'm so happy. And like pays you for it, tips you abundantly, listens to all your prep instructions and your maintenance instructions and like follows the steps. I'm just like, oh, rock star clients.
I love that for you. You are the rock star.
I love you.
You are the rock star. I love you too. And, this was such a meaningful, fruitful conversation about your journey. And to end it, I have a confession. Well, obviously, it's not a confession to you because I didn't come to spray tan. I really struggle with getting in, keeping up. God, there's just so many things to keep up with, Tatiyana. It's really hard. So you brought the spray to me today.
I did.
Because I am a spray tan virgin. I don't know much about it. And before you spray my face, I want you to tell me a little bit about this bottle. You brought a bottle.
Yeah. So
what is this about?
So this is a self-tanning mist.
Okay.
I love it. It does have color in it. It has instant color.
Okay.
It glides on just like a mist. So if you're in a bind and you're like walking out the door and you need something real quick, this is your go-to.
So self-apply.
Self-apply. It's fast drying. It gives you instant color.
Yeah. And you can put it on your face.
You can put it on
and
your
anywhere.
face.
Right?
I love it on top of my makeup.
Okay.
It's like the perfect finishing spray.
Huh. Okay.
I love it. It's like how we use setting spray on top for makeup? This is like you would use it in place of your setting spray.
Okay.
And
we're going to end by you. Okay. I'm going to stay here so the camera can catch. You're going to bring it and I'm going to sit here and you're spray my face.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Lay it on me, girl.
Okay.
Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
All right. So what you need to do for me is just go like this and move your hair back.
Okay, I'm moving my hair back.
Perfect.
I have makeup on, which you're saying is okay.
Totally okay. And I just go like this. And that's it.
Smells good. Is it over?
It's over.
Okay.
Let me do your neck a little while we're here. That's it.
Wow. Okay.
Done.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Thank you so much. Thank you
You
so
are
much.
so
I love you and I
welcome.
love our conversation and I love how layered and dimensional you are and you
Thank
brought it
you.
all here, which is a beautiful vulnerability that I appreciate.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for having me. And you're such a gem, and I love you so much.
Thank you, honey. And that's it. Thanks for jumping in with Mary. Dear listeners, if you like what you heard, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and follow me on my journey on Instagram and YouTube. Until next time.